from the West Coast. Welcome, race fans, one and all, back to Washington, where this afternoon we get set to go racing once again on Green Flag TV. It's the Portland International Raceway making its Green Flag debut for round number 4 of the Beer League. My name is Ola Rempel alongside Mr. Fettuccini. We bring you all of racing action here for PIR this afternoon. Then, brand new racetrack to the iRacing service, and this is going to be a fun ride as we get set to see what Portland's got in store, what kind of racing they'll put on in force.
I can't wait to see what we'll see out of the Beer League here. I was looking up, doing a little research here. I was like, where else have we seen it in sim racing or at least racing adjacent series? Need for Speed Pro Street also has Portland International Racing, so any of the people on track there who have that old game in his memory of how to drive this track alongside our Factor 2. Should be some interesting racing all the same as these cars get set to set some qualifying lap times here at PR.
We'll take a rundown of your official your official standings entering racing action here this afternoon. And right now, top of the points boards, it is Alexander Bueller right now up 9 on one. Alex Cobb has jumped up 3 positions along with the likes of Jason Lee. Not a good day for Henry Morse, though. Last week, caught out of the field strategy. He has tumbled all the way down to 10th of the points, just barely clinging on for a top 10, but still very much in the fight. But not often do we see a driver on top of the points boards with no beers drank on the season.
That is very true, and it's a very interesting change of pace as we get into the race, but there's still many more races left of the season for that to change again. So Alexander Bueller definitely has to keep that consistent pace he's had so far this season. The car really seeming to agree with him, though, with these Legends 34 coupes.
Of course, we'll take things over to the Teams Championship with the Formula Legends already up on top, having jumped Legendary as well as Legends Never Die. So 2 more teams jumping up to 1 and 2 with the championship respectively, with Derry dropping down 2 and Hale Saxon going to drop 1 position as well, as does the iconic team in this league, Flying Donuts Motorsports. Legends of the Hidden Temple remain stationary with Cryptid Awareness Project 026, both jumping up 1 as well. So still a tight teams championship as well.
Definitely, I think it'll be the consistency we'll see throughout the season that'll probably change those gaps and spread them out further, or tighten them back up, as the battles, I think, for all those positions, I think, are still up for grabs in the team championship as they are getting through these weeks of the season.
And of course, still shy of 2 kegs drank throughout the course of the season. 1.31 thus far as we get set to enter the next round of racing action here this afternoon. And well, with that, qualifying is going to be the order of the day, as time's already started to tumble in quite rapidly here. Let's ride on board to Darren Thacker. He'll take us for a trip around the Portland International Raceway.
And exciting chicane to start out the lap. A right-hand 90 followed by an acute left to set us up for the faster second section of the course. With over 130 kilometers an hour, much faster. We're coming a little bit over the brakes into the second sector, much more technical sector, I would say, for these drivers, and kind of find the limits of grip of this Legend.
Much more technical here as it stands. So Aaron Thacker again did not get his first lap validated, so still chasing that first lap on the boards. Now this corner here, critical. This sets you up for the second longest drafting zone of the racetrack, and he's got a lot of draft for the car that is just up the road from him. So Thacker looking like he could be trying to have himself with a pretty good run here this afternoon, and this corner is one that catches so many drivers. You see the braking boards on the right-hand side. It's a sharp, not even a sharp, but a shallow left-hand kink. Immediately files into the right. So risky to go side-by-side through here in Legends cars, it may be possible, and that takes us all the way back around for the front straightaway.
Yeah, but you saw him working the wheel there, definitely. Oh!
Collides and ouch.
Definitely. That last few corners really kind of unsettles. You definitely get loose. Iron back fighting with that wheel to keep the car going the right direction, is what I was trying to say before he made contact there with, I believe that was Alex Crawford. No, it was not. Excuse me.
So we see drivers now starting to try and get more of their lap times fired in here. There was Josh Freed, and that lap will stand. He will sit 16th on the boards. Austin Tucker, another driver, firmly chasing his quick time on the boards this afternoon for, oh, look out, and runs into the back of one of the Jegs cars, and that was Chris Hannigan that just got punted off the road there.
Oh.
I think just a bit of miscommunication there. Tucker trying to go left to get around him. Hannigan trying to go left to get out of his way.
Kind of by, yeah. I think just a pair of unfortunate choices at the same exact time. You know, Austin Tucker being on the flyer. Justin Reese, I believe, on a flyer as well.
And how about Henry Morse? Easily going to reset the fastest lap of the night so far, a 1:23.809, eclipsing his prior lap. No doubt had a lot of drafting help with the 16 machine just in front of him. Does Alex Crawford now have an answer?
So it looks like on the relative he may, but he is not, I would say, fully free and clear. Got to make up 4/10. Very possible with a little bit of drafting help, but I don't think he has much of a drafting buddy to kind of drag him through a lap as Henry Morse did.
So Crawford not going to be able to improve on that lap. Chris Bright, though, on a flyer, looking to make the push down to the start-finish line, this time by. And at the stripe, it's going to be a small improvement from Bright. He improves on the time, but not able to necessarily improve on his position. He still remains under a 10th behind Eric Ronenberg.
And the times here from first all the way down to, I believe it is 10th, separated by just over a second. So a lot of competitive pace there across all these guys. Aston amongst the many to finally getting across the start-finish line to set a lap time. It is clean, now without a car to run into, ends up fourth with 124.57.
Austin Tucker will go to the third place on the boards, while other drivers firing in some quick lap times here. Mac Verstappen just put himself up into the number 11 spot. So most of the runners here that we're looking to put down times have got those times relatively locked in this afternoon. There you see Barron Morton. And, somebody just got into the wall pretty big behind him. Jeremy Castro going to reset his fastest lap. He will remain 26th.
Improvement there for Jimmy Castro, Giovanni Romano, Steven Purcell, Tyler Agostino, Adam Mallett, and Lance Cameron, all individuals that still have yet to set a lap time as the rest of the field looking to improve off their first lap.
Chris Bright to the stripe this time by just misses out on improving. He'll remain 10th place for the time being. Jordan Babcock looking to see what he's got for the rest of this field. He just put down his fast lap of the session that last time by 7/10 quicker. And now with 10 seconds before he gets that time eclipsed, looking like he might be trying to improve again. 4, 3, 2, into the 124s. No, just misses out by about 3.5 tenths. But Ronenberg will go into 5th.
He will, getting that draft down the start-finish stretch, and I think as well as getting the back stretch that you were talking about, having a great draft. Really getting that time dialed in. 580's got.
Alex King will go to the 4th place spot on the boards this afternoon. Justin Hall crosses the stripe this time by no improvement. He is off by about 3/10. Looking to me like a lot of drivers kind of struggling for late run pace here. See if Alex Crawford has an answer, but so far no one's been able to even come close to Henry Morse's 123.
I have not seen it. I think Henry Morse got a fair bit of help on top of just having a good set of pace in this car, in this track combination. Since it's also one of the newer tracks, I think it's definitely catching a few drivers out on the where to keep the how the tires will react when they're overheated in specific corners when they're trying to look to find those last few tenths of time.
So Crawford not able to improve. What about Ron Wolf? Wolf into the final corner now, but with only 10 seconds on the boards, I think might be asking for a bit much for Ron Wolf to improve on his lap. He's going to come across the start-finish line this time by, and no dice, I don't think. missing out by
500th off.
Yeah. At least he's consistent.
Really, consistency is a big part of racing. So if he's consistently that fast, I'm sure he'll probably find himself at least a few positions for those that aren't able to keep their single lap pace at the same as the consistency.
There you see the gap between Bai and Henry Morse, 1.2 seconds. And we'll keep that up so you can kind of watch the battles coming down for the pole time here in this one. As Alex Cofford gets set to see if he's got a potential answer for him. To the stride, this will be close! 123.9, just barely misses out.
Oh. A 10th and a half slower. I think it'll be a very tight race for the overall top spot between those two. And I think Alex Buehler will have to find a little bit of pace there with the draft help, as well as just overall help kind of keep himself on top of the points here in the overall championship.
So Alex King just momentarily go off the road, while behind Jake Kasich. See if potentially he's got an answer to get into the top 5. And he is not. He's going to be attempting a pit entry here. You know, good idea. Practice pit entry. We got the chance here in qualifying.
Absolutely. Between practice and qualifying, it's a little bit of a unique entry, especially given the kind of runoff that's almost a misnomer in these final few corners that we see Henry Moore. But that's not the actual pit entry. Pit entry is just off to the right, and it's much easier than whatever is off to the left there for the drag strip.
Morse going to miss out on his pole lap by several seconds there, so likely just a warm-up lap. Now Ron Wolf with a lot ahead of him as well. Does have some slipstream help up the road, and that could be vital in securing a potential run down the line.
So he's got help in front of him. I think that'll be the thing he'll need in order to get up the order from his 10th spot. We saw Eric Ronenberg do a similar maneuver earlier on. So I wonder if he'll also be of help to Ron Wolf here as he's just up the road.
The pack. Oh, look out. Ronenberg. That could impact these guys' laps. They may have checked up in an effort to try and avoid. We'll see if that hurts Ron Wolf at all. Coming to the stripe. He does improve. And that's going to put him all the way up to 5th. I think it's worth mentioning, by the way, look at the gap from 5th place on down here in qualifying. It is extremely close. And you can see, we're talking, look, 0.01, 0.11, just back to 6th and 7th. Thousands of seconds are being separated here.
They are indeed just tenths, hundredths, thousands, covering all of these cars pretty much from 5th all the way back to, you could go out and stretch the legs back to 20th, and it is still tenths between these cars. They all add up though, with 5th being in the 124.56 and 20th being in the 125.57.
Adam Joseph Milhot working his way around. Jason Lee gonna have to go for a pass here on Chris Hannigan. By the way, Hannigan, first time we have seen Hannigan out this season. That number 4 car does not get out much anymore, but it's always good to see him back out, even if it's into the barriers on both sides of the racetrack. Ouch, that's a hefty lick there. Lee coming to the stripe.
Brutal.
Oh, look at how close that was. A 6.4 compared to the 6.7. Just barely missing out.
Yeah, I know he's going to be going. I wonder where that. You always see it sometimes if you grab the. You think you got to. It's just, unfortunately, the time just keeps ticking up, and you're like, but I thought this was good. What happened? Henry Morse is, however, managed to set a fast lap time, 1:23.75, reopening that gap between him and Alex Crawford back to 0.2, and a solid 0.7 to Alex Buehler in third.
Crawford's got to get a move on here if he wants to have any kind of say in how this pans out. Evan Campbell coming to the stripe. He is not going to improve either. Try as he may. One driver that does, though, Ben Williams. He'll jump up to 20th place just behind him.
It definitely looks like we see pairs of cars, and the car that's in the lead of them is getting who's taking all the brunt of the air in front of both of them, losing time, not getting any faster. Car behind, you saw it there at Cronenberg, you saw it there with Ben Williams, both getting a huge benefit of the draft. Such I think, an important feature of driving these cars and getting a good lap time. A little bit of help from those around you.
But it is not everything, because Ronneberg's still down by a couple of tenths, and I think this track really kind of slowing down a lot for the last little while. There you see Alex Crawford setting himself up for another flyer, while Henry Morse trying to reset the fastest lap again. This is going to be close, and he's not going to be able to reset it. So Morse drops back again. What does Alex King have? The answer is nothing. That's going to be under a 124. So Austin Tucker, though, front, going to go to third.
Yes, dethroning Alex Buehler by a 10th, improving into the 124.32. Had a little bit of a bigger gap between him and Alex Buehler, but he has since proven that he can, in fact, race on the podium, and in theory, if he's consistent, come home with a pretty decent result there.
Oh, Hannigan going for another slide. I don't think Hannigan is really caught up with how these cars handle yet. You can tell he is just fighting for grip anywhere he can find it. And there we see Alex Crawford. See if he's got any answer for the drivers further up the grid.
I'm curious if he's just not as lucky in this qualifying session of who he's had as a track than both Henry Morris or Austin Tucker or the rest of the top five here, and that's, I think, maybe why his pace is still just.
Oh, he gets him! Just got him by 0.3. You were saying?
I stand corrected. He doesn't need. I was saying that it was important. It was not important. Draft doesn't matter. All you have to do is be fast, like Alex Crawford is. So, never mind. Forget I said it. It wasn't important.
Now, Henry Morse has one lap, one chance to try and see if he's got a response. Crawford firing in that lap at the buzzer. If Henry Morse can take it back, this could be an intense end to this qualifying session. Under a minute and a half to go.
I'd say he has to line up everything just right and keep on it. Throughout this very technical sector, you can set yourself very well back straight and really using as much of that curbing as then. I don't think that is considered an off-track in iRacing.
I believe you are correct. I don't think it is considered an off-track either. Morse into the final corner. Ronneberg improves to 6th, bumping Ron Wolf down to 7th. This could be close. No, he didn't make it.
No,
he got the off-track. Oh, that was going to be a good lap, too. I think that could have rivaled it. I think he could have gotten him there, but must have gotten an off-track somewhere.
I mean, my guess is that's possibly the inside corner that we talked about was, in fact, track.
Probably, yeah. That's a big shame and a tough break to close out the first round of qualifying this afternoon. Well, the sprint race getting set to come at you here as the checker flag officially falls. And they are going to line up a little bit something like this as we get set to duke it out for the 15-minute sprint race this afternoon. Starting on pole position, it is going to be Alex Coffin alongside Henry Morse. Moving on back to row number 2, it is Austin Tucker for Sierra Team 6 along Hill Satins, Alexander Bueller. Row 3 then, it's Alex King alongside Eric Ronneberg. From there, it's Ron Wolf and Justin Hall. Moving on back to close out the top 10 will be Josh Freed and Jason Lee. And on the last 2 invert spots is going to be Jake Kasich alongside Darren By. From there, back to the field is going to be Chris Bright, Matt Verstappen, Brooks Clayton, Tyler Carlton, Chris Hannigan, Jordan Babcock, Aaron Thacker, Ben Williams, Ryan Verhulst, Lance Cameron, Evan Campbell, Justin Brissy, Greg Beckman, Adam Joseph Mailhot, Jeremy Castro, Tyler Viennan, Blake Gambrell, Ryan Murphy, Barrett Morton, Carson Catlin, Stephen Brissell, Giovanni Romano, and Tyler Augustino going to close out the field.
A solid set of drivers, 35 on the track here, and I think it'll be make for some good racing all the way down from the 3 that have not set qualifying times: Stephen Purcell, Giovanni Romano, Tyler Agostino, all the way up to the top of the grid, Alex Crawford and Henry Morse. They'll be duking it out once the lights go out here as gridding gets finalized.
Still waiting on these final drivers to grid on up before we can get to full racing action. Here we go. Lights are going to flick on. We're green for the 15-minute sprint race at the Portland International Raceway. Great getaway from Alex Crawford on the sprint down towards turn number 1, trying to see if he can hang on now as we fire into the first chicane this afternoon. Crawford maintains the run all throughout, not looking like we got any problems towards the tail end of the field. Everyone gets through the first series of corners clean, and now we rip it back up and around in towards the more technical side of the racetrack.
And you see them kind of starting to zipper up here, kind of going from two starting files down to 1, as there's only really one good line for these machines, without starting to kind of lose a lot of time to battle or go too wide off of the optimal line for them. So they're all kind of picking their battles, trying to find good setups and runs as we get onto the back straight here with Alex Crawford, Henry Morse, Alex Bueller still in the stop. Austin Tucker passing Alex Bueller for 3rd.
Greg Beckman has found himself going off piece behind. He is having a big issue, along with potentially Blake Gambrell and Barrett Morton. Took a look at what has happened here. This is coming down. Oh, yep, bit of a hip, nose to tail contact there. That's going to park up a couple of them. Meanwhile, out of the final corner, Crawford leads the way, and he'll lead at the end of lap number 1.
This top 4, all from Alex Crawford down to Alex Bueller, all in a tight pack. Eric Ronneberg kind of holding off the rest of the cars behind. A large pack from 5 all the way down to what I believe to be 15th. And just a huge pack of cars in that train going to do battle. We're going to see probably changes for the lead. Josh Freed taking a little bit of an off track, but keeping the car going the right direction as they get into the technical 2nd sector.
Few cars slid off at the turn 1 chicane, just overshot the breakpoint. One more is off the road just behind. That's Chris Hannigan. The JX number 4 once again finding itself going a little bit up and wide. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot of struggle for Hannigan tonight until he gets a grip on how these cars run. On board with Josh Freed as he tries to chase down drivers just up the road.
You can see how much these drivers are going to have to work the wheel over the course of this 2nd sector as well as most of this lap. Not a ton of camber on this track to really help seat the car anywhere, so anytime it wants to get a little loose with these tires once they get warmed up or overheated from a slide or trying to avoid contact, as Alex Crawford dives to the inside of Henry Morse after the back straight.
Morse got him down the back straight. Crawford crossed him over. Now it's a drag race down the front straightaway. How perfect is it then that we have an NHRA drag strip for 8th mile racing just in the back right now? 3 wide into turn number 1. Tucker trying to go 2 for 2. Morse picks him off though.
Morse picks him off. Alex and Austin Tucker not finished yet. Austin Tucker trying to keep 2nd spot. And Alex Bueller looking to get in the fight here. as they are heading into that second sector as they kind of button back up, but Alex Crawford's not content with where he is in third.
No, he is not. Turning the third lap of racing action this afternoon. The laps go by quickly here. It's a very short racetrack that we got here in Portland, but that means all the more chances for these major drafting battles down the straights. Now, do you think Tucker makes the Lon John Morse coming back down into the final series of corners?
I think it's possible. I'm curious to see what happened to Alex Crawford there, because he went from in the middle of that fight and he's further back.
Looks like a potential blink out for him. Yeah, you saw him tumble down the time order, then jump back up to fourth. So I think he blinked out for a minute.
I think so as well, but he will have to work on a bit of a recovery drive. No longer in the draft for top three. Still kind of how they were coming out of the second corner, with the exception of Crawford down into fourth.
Oh, look out, Justin Brissy off the road. And that comes at a relatively bad point in the racetrack as well for, in terms of rejoins. And, well, that's obviously the rejoin after the fact. Mac Verstappen puts down the fast lap of the race. And, well, there you saw him going off-road again. We'll back this up one more time. But he might have gotten a bit of a hit here coming down to the corner.
I think it was just the lightest of touch, if possible. He looks almost like he kind of got a little loose, didn't quite break enough, but then gets pit turn there, yeah. Thankfully, he doesn't catch anybody else up in it, but he's unfortunately back at the end of that pack.
So Morse, Tucker, Bueller, Crawford running 1, 2, 3 with and 4. Right now, the battle on for 6 between Eric Ronenberg, Alex King, Jake Kasich, and Jason Lee, making their way down the back chute and towards. I don't know corner numbers at this point. Oh, look at the door banging going on here. Looking for 3 and 4 down the back straightaway into the fast section.
I say, almost like it was 5 wide from the camera shot, but I know it wasn't. But they have definitely been trying to sort it out on the racetrack. Jake Kasich really fighting that machine there in the back of that shot. It has all 5 of them, and the rest of the field that's kind of been in the battle here continue to work their way through.
So the field going to keep on keeping on. Oh, and now one into the wall. Going to go deep into the turn 1 chicane. And now around goes Chris Brent and Jason Lee. You saw that coming a mile away, Fenn.
Oh, I absolutely did. And, oh. Jason Lee trying to get back going the right way. And this catches up another car. It's definitely something I anticipated happening. I didn't expect it to go so explosively into turn 1 and turn 2, but it was, I think, destined based on the door bagging we saw the lap earlier.
So the field continuing to do battle. Here comes Henry. Well, there's his. Sorry, that's Alexander Bueller attacking Austin Tucker. You're right on board with
no,
Henry.
You're right on board with Austin Tucker.
Oh, sorry, I completely lost track of where we were. Into turn 10 here, as it turns out, turns 10, 11, and 12 being the final. We'll ignore what ignore my blunder there, but Bueller trying to attack Morse for the lead.
Absolutely has been the fastest lap so far. Alex Bueller is on a tear, working his way up from 4th, looking to take on the inside of turn 1. We'll see him overlap with that draft, pulling him further ahead. Now he has the shallow line into turn 1. Henry Morse not going to give it up easy as they go into 2 and work their way out into the second technical sector. Morse holds on after a Morse exit from Alex Bueller, and Austin Tucker just kind of hanging out in the background, waiting for this to go south as the two of them go wheel to wheel.
Darren Bai is off the road, deep in the field, and big issues for Bai. This has jumped him out of the podium position, or out of the transfer positions. We'll take a look on what happened here. This is coming down in towards turn number 1, 3 wide of Aaron Thacker, and got into the 22. That's what spun him around. So it looks like Freed caught him.
I think it was, yeah, Freed caught him just a little bit. I think he was almost starting to turn himself prior, but Freed kept him from going too much further. It was a little bit of time to that.
Here we go for the lead. Bueller to the inside, picks off the spot from Morris, back into turn 10, and out through 11, out through 12.
Whoa. Alex Coffer lunging up the inside on Austin Tucker, forcing the move there as well in the background of that shot. Oh, man.
Morris going to be easily able to get back around him on the front straightaway. 3 wide for the lead now. Look at Alex Coffer making the move down to the inside. Forced to yield, though, into turn number 1. And Morse overshoots. Coffer swims through and takes it anyway. Beautiful move from Coffer. Baited Morse into the mistake.
Yep. Alex Bueller, Austin Tucker both checking up as they were behind Henry Morris. And now Ron Wolf is caught up in this battle for the lead. That now involves 5 cars when it was just 3 a lap and a half ago.
Oh, and now we got trouble for Matt Verstappen as Verstappen goes off the road. He's going to be jumped out of the top 12. Right now, assuming Crawford again takes his usual Crawford exit, we're looking at Tyler Carlton being the last driver in back in 13th, which would turn into 12. 5.5 minutes to go, though. Now, Crawford, I feel, is going to run away with this, and Morris and Bueller are effectively fighting for the sprint race win, assuming Crawford does Crawford things.
Yeah, if Crawford does Crawford things, I believe it's going to be a battle between Morris and Bueller for that sprint win. I'm super curious to see if Giovanni Romano is going to be able to make the move on Tyler Carlton into 13th and therefore earn himself a transfer spot and put him at the top of the order going into the feature.
Holy cow.
Henry Moore taking a really wide line there to take the inside. 3 wide. 3 to 2.
Boy, he did not want to leave any door open down there, did he?
He did not. He was like, I overshot it last time trying to be unsafe. Now I'm going to be hyper safe.
Oh boy.
And block the entire train of cars behind me as a result.
I'd argue it would have been better if just the racing line there, because look at how much Bueller was able to pull alongside him there.
Absolutely. I think, and like we talked about there, or at least I've talked about earlier, it's that racing line is where you get the most time. If you go off of it to make these defensive moves, you're going to lose a lot of speed in the second sector here and get not the most ideal run, and sometimes maybe a really terrible run into the backstretch here.
Alexander Bueller making that look, trying to go down the inside of Henry Morris. This time by, going to try to pull alongside into turn number 10. Bueller's got the look, and Bueller back through for the lead. Culver back in a second. Morris picks up third. Wolf and Tucker continue to just lick their chops, way into the way. He's trying to see if anybody can get up there. By the way, Brooks Clayton with a black flag.
Brooks Clayton, I wonder if there was a slowdown there that didn't get served.
Looking like he's actively trying to serve a slowdown penalty.
Yeah, I wonder if it just didn't get served in time. 3 wide once again in the turn 1. Alex Coffer and Henry Morris really duking it out here for the lead. Neither really willing to give it up. Alex Bueller, Ron Wolf, Austin Tucker all able to keep it together as Josh Freed jumps over the curbs to keep a hold on his position in the second pack of cars.
You don't know where to look. 3 minutes to go,
yes.
Roughly 2 laps to go at the stripe, so laps are quickly getting away from us here. Coffer picks up the top spot again. Morse alongside with Bueller as they work their way through turn 7 into 8 and 9. The right-left flick. Where does Coffer take his exit?
That's my question. And at what point do we watch all 4 of them, all 5 of them, if you want to include Alex Crawford, duke it out for the lead? Last couple laps here, I've seen a couple drivers go really late on the brakes and end up having to kind of shimmy the car back into position on this last corner here as they go down the start-finish stretch.
Bueller being pushed up with Henry Morris, bump drafting into the corner. Coffer remains with these guys. Bueller hangs on for the lead. Morris trying to go the long way around 2. It's not going to work. He'll have to tuck it line for 3rd place, entering turn number 3. Aaron Thacker going to lose out of a couple of spots as well. He drops back to 11th, and this here right now the battle for 12th, and it could end up being 11th later on in this one, on board with Crawford.
Just an intense pair of battles we have here between the top 5 as well as 9 through 12, kind of for these last few transfer spots. Neither of them really cooling down at all, and I think it's huge thanks to the drafts really keeping all of these cars in contention whenever they get down to a straight. As Alex Crawford tries to make the move, almost kind of fakes it and then has to really go for it. He swings back over the lead. Alex Buehler keeping nice and close behind him. Henry Moore still in this as well. Austin Tucker getting around Ron Wolf in the background of that shot.
And Copper's just been black flagged. Not sure if this is by design or potentially he took too much curve. Delivery got a slowdown penalty, and now he's got to serve. I guess that's kind of just convenient. And I'd expect Copper to go straight on here to turn 1 potentially. Yep, that is exactly what he's going to do.
Yep, he will do that. Really earn himself more of a penalty. And I think he's just going to keep going straight. And he does.
Kind of anticlimactic, though, if I'm being honest. And now, the battle for who wins the sprint race.
It is on. It has never stopped being on, to be fair. As the two of them keep going through. Aaron Thacker, I think, unfortunately finding a bit of an off and a crash in the background of this, but still 2 for 2. Ron Wolf, Henry Morris trying to get the look up the inside here. I think he's going to end up having a worse exit as a result.
So we're going to work our way to the back straight away. Through turn 9. On the approach to 10. Buehler going to be pushed by Morse. Morse knows he's going to be vulnerable on the front straightaway. Buehler might try to play games and let him through. Turn 10. Back around to 11. 1 corner to go. Who takes the win in the final lap of this 15-minute sprint? Buehler sprinting for him. Morse trying to close in. The gap down to 0.2 of a second. But he's not going to get there in time. Makes the look, or will he? To the stripe! And Buehler hangs on by 10 thou.
10,000 of a second. Ron Wolf in 3rd, Eric Ronenberg in 4th after Austin Tucker has an unfortunate bit of a mix-up.
And of course, our usual beer leash shenanigans commence. Holy cow, someone is absolutely flying through the infield there.
Gosh.
Oh boy, what a ride.
As always.
As per, right? It's all business as usual here, isn't it?
Yes, there's many donuts and just engine revving as possible.
Here comes a few more.
The last few finishers. Oh man.
I think we're going to need a bit more of an orderly finish to that one, but we'll take a rundown now of your your official sprint race results here this afternoon for at least the top 10 here in this one, and of course the top 12 as well. So it is going to end up being Alexander Buehler taking the win by 100th of a second over Henry Morris. Ron Wolf picks up 3rd, Ronenberg back in 4th, King in 5th, and it's Tucker in 6th, Freed, Kasich, Romano, and Hall will close out the top 10. Wright and Lee started on the front row in the main event. So that is that then for the time being. 1 hour of racing from Portland coming up in just a moment. Stay with us. We'll be back soon.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Green Flag TV as we are gearing up for racing action here with just a little bit while longer to go before this race gets underway. You see an overturned Alex Cofford down in pit road. And Fenn, we were talking about this a little bit during the break, and I think we're both of the same mind, right? If this race is going to go down the way the sprint race did, we're in for a great night.
That we are. I am very excited for the way that this is going to keep going, because it seems like with the way the second sector is, the technicality that's in that lap, along with the two kind of long straights to allow these cars more passing room and opportunities with the draft. I think it's going to be tight battles all across the field for an hour of racing.
You and me both. It's going to be a good night for sure, and we are ready to take a rundown on what that starting grid is going to be looking like this afternoon, as things will flip on over. And with that, time to once again get the party started. Starting on a pole position this afternoon, it is going to be none other than, eventually, maybe, there we go. It's Jason Lee started on pole alongside Chris Bryant. They finished 12th and 11th in the sprint. From there, it is Justin Hall alongside Giovanni Romano. Moving on back, it's Jake Kasich and Josh Freed. 7th place going to hold Austin Tucker alongside Alex King. That is followed up by Eric Ronneberg and Ron Wolf. And that is capped off then by Henry Morse and Alexander Bueller in a 100th of a second photo finish, coming to the line in the sprint. From there, moving on down to the field, it is going to be Tyler Carlton, Aaron Thacker, Matt Verstappen, Tyler Augustino, Darren By, Jordan Babcock, Lance Cameron, Chris Hannigan, Greg Beckman, Evie Campbell, Ryan Murphy, Tyler Vietnan, Adam Joseph Milha, Ben Williams, Ryan Verhulst, Jeremy Castro, Justin Brissy, Steph Brissell, Blake Gambrill, Baron Morton, Brooks Clayton, and Alex Crawford.
Another exciting grid, all 35 cars from our sprint taking to the grid for our feature. So we got an hour of racing set to begin momentarily. I'm excited. I think I'm also excited that there is probably going to be a pretty decent chance of a fuel strategy coming into play here.
You're not wrong, right? Fuel strategy could very well be very, very key this afternoon, and I think that's something to keep an eye out for over the course of this afternoon.
With, I think, about 24 to 27 minutes of good running on a green fuel tank, and with the likelihood of a caution somewhere in the middle of this, I think it'll be, or code 69, excuse me, I think there's a great opportunity to stretch out the one-stop strategy if they're lucky.
So odds are on favorites to win this one. Got anybody on your mind?
I would love to see, come back to it.
We'll come back to that in just a moment as the green flag going to get set to come on out this time by, and it's go, go, go here in Portland as the field takes off with a mad sprint down towards turn number 1 this afternoon. Great getaway from Jason Lee as the field fans out behind him on the mad sprint down to turn number 1, and a collision in the background, a couple of cars coming together, but we're going to keep it pointed in the right direction, and everyone gets away clear at the exit of turn number 1.
That they do. Exit of turn number 2, though, saw cars, I feel like he almost had 4 wide coming as they button down and zip up into the technical second sector, trying to find their slot to make the best set of running and find that racing line throughout the field.
Overall, everything in lockstep this afternoon as the field fanning out just a little ways behind. Oh, trouble in the background. Jeremy Castro being sent off the road. Aaron Thacker around as well at the tail end of the field. So a few cars getting punted around to kick off racing action here this afternoon for the main event in Portland. Jason Lee, though, with a huge getaway already. We're talking 6/10 plus clear of the field.
He is, and just, I think, had a great launch there compared to the rest of the people going in turn 1. And has had every opportunity to kind of just hold off and find a proper racing line. Watching all these cars try to pick the draft off of each other as they all just kind of weave like a snake down the start-finish straight.
The old IndyCar snake, ironic as IndyCars race here as well, and they like to utilize the same tactics. Freed comes off the nose of Jake Case. McKasick forces the issue, trying to get it back clear, but Freed still in there, just barely, and Freed going to look to make the move to get back into the top 5.
That he is, trying to keep the car of Jay Kasich behind him, as well as Eric Cronenberg, and kind of this pack of cars that he is in the middle of as he tries to hold on to and get around Austin Tucker.
Couple of cars off in the background, but again, nothing too much to worry about from this pack as we work our way around through turn 7, back around to 8, and then setting ourselves up for 9. With the rest of the field in hot pursuit just behind, there is Kaysen making the move on Free potentially.
He is coming down the backstretch. I can't imagine that he would like to do so as Eric Cronenberg shoots up the order. That's it.
And he's going to still keep working with these guys, trying to see if perhaps he's got an answer of any sort. Matt Verstappen also in the mix. What can he try to do?
That is the question here, as he had the fastest lap, and then Alex Crawford said, I'm going to take the fastest lap, and going to the way.
Field still nice and tight together, still trying to see if they can't work with one another and try to battle their way up and through. It's a difficult order, though, at a racetrack like this. You can see how much these drivers are slipping and sliding around, trying to find whatever kind of grip they can in these slower sections of the racetrack. But a side-by-side deeper in the pack here as well as Giovanni Romano on the back of the field. Look out as, holy cow, Mailhot picks the tail end down, just went for a solo car spin. He's going to get T-boned, I think, by the O2 just up the road of him. That was Ryan Murphy that clobbered him.
That it was, and he got a little loose on his own, and then Adam Murphy collects him as he's trying to get the car going again, and gets spun around the other way.
So the field going to continue to battle it out with one another here as we continue to see move after move being made here. 5 minutes in already. Ronenberg again resets the fastest lap. Jason Lee had a good getaway, got up to about 0.6 of a second. Since then, he's been run down, but so far, not as much movement as we're used to seeing here in the field, at least within the top 12. It's been very orderly so far. The top 3 still exactly where they've started. The biggest movers so far within the top 12 have been Eric Ronenberg up 4 positions, but your race leader, Henry Moore, is only up to 7th.
He's only up 7th, but we still have a lot of racing. We're only 5 minutes in, kind of not even 10 minutes. Plenty of time there. Eric Ronenberg continuing to kind of push around Austin Tucker. Josh Freed saying, I'll also join in on the passing battle here, and looking to take away the position as well from Austin Tucker. Austin Tucker going to defend from both of them. 3 wide into turn 1, almost clocking Justin Hall in there. And they all survive, but a gap building there as they all had to check up to avoid it. Henry Morris going, oh, well, I'll join in on this mix as well, and has worked his way up into 6th.
Boy, Josh Freed with a wild moment there in the middle of all that. We'll look at that in just a second here. Look at Chris Bright. Backs it up, not going to go for the offensive on Jason Lee into turn 1. This is on board with Josh Freed as he works his way down the back straightaway. And hang on for the ride here as we go around through turn 10, and this car nearly goes around on him.
He's already working the wheel. He's going to work it so much harder trying to get the car rotated and then counter-rotated so it doesn't spin on him. Good stuff.
Very
fantastic hands work there for Josh Freed.
Yeah, no kidding. Very, very close call. Did everything he needed to do there to keep that car in control and underneath him. Now, we will continue to battle our way into the deeper portions here of this race as Chris Bright under 5 for Justin Hall. Hall putting Lee under fire for the first time. We have a new leader tonight. Justin Hall nose to the point, and one of the dairy cars up on top. Now, can Jason Lee get him back into turn 1?
Plenty of room there down the front stretch for him to pick up the draft and make the speed required to make this pass on the inside or the outside. Chris Bright also hanging out in the mix, still kind of hanging out behind Jason Lee. He fans out to the inside, and I think he's going to try to go either for the 2-for-1 or at least go for the fight in the second. He ends up backing out, though, and continues to hold on third. Eric Ronenberg, Henry Morris in the background of the shot now as they get out of turn 2. And Justin Hall continues to hold the lead.
Eric Ronenberg took the fastest lap. Coffer took it right back, and problems for Jake Kasich as one of the heavy hitters. Kasich goes around at turn number 1. Disaster for Jake Kasich this afternoon. He was right behind Ron Wolf, and he got a tip from Matt Verstappen.
Yeah, I think he got tipped there, as we saw, and just tumbles down the order as a result because of how tight the field still is. Gaps separated by seconds and tenths. Less than a second from first all the way down to 20th.
Racing action still on. Jason Lee pushing Chris Bright to the point, side-by-side contact into turn number 10. Around goes Hall. Hall off the racetrack, and Hall gonna be sent out wide. Big dramas for the lead of the race.
Absolutely. I don't think Chris Bright wanted to be there to begin with. And then he looks like, and he's like, shoot, I can't back out now, I suppose, without, further complicating things with Eric Ronenberg behind. But I don't think Justin Hall really allowed for that space either. giving it a little bit of a look, and then he ends up sliding off to keep the car from wrecking fully.
We'll take a look at that in a moment. For now, Jason Lee dropping back to third for the first time tonight. Ronenberg out by 3/4 of a second. Walking out the gap here as Chris Bright going to fire his way through as well. Jason Lee and Henry Morse looking to battle down for the final podium spot as well. And looking like now, Alex Crawford's gone around.
Oh man, that is a big hit for him from where he wanted to start at the end. And it looks like a self spin. We'll check on that in a second.
And I'll take a look at that in a moment. Just waiting for the PSR race to wrap on up, and then we'll go through the string of replays, catch y'all up on what you missed. Whoa, the lunge from Wolf there into the corner, getting around Austin Tucker. That is brave, but he's able to keep it out of Henry Morse.
He is. Henry Morse also looking to keep his position, fighting for that podium spot. As these trio cars bunch up behind Eric Ronenberg for the lead.
Ronenberg still trying to maintain, and everyone else fanning out in the background. Here's a bit of almost 3 wide, deeper in the field. Alex Crawford already back on the recovery drive. He gets around to number 69, and now Lance Cameron's gone around and won.
Lance Cameron having a bit of a rough race. I don't think the heat was any kinder to him in that sprint race than this has been. So he's only down 2 positions from where he started, though. Plenty of time for him to make it back up and get back into the fight towards the top end of the race.
And welcome to the folks that have just tuned in from the premier sim racing Sim Game Expo Truck Series over at Kansas Speedway. You've missed a dramatic last few laps. We'll catch you up in just a moment. The battle for the lead still nice and tight between Ronenberg and Chris Bright. And we'll see if there's a look made here into turn number 1 this next time by.
I would have to imagine either by choice or by force, Chris Bright might take a look in the one. Not just Jason Lee might push him to make one.
Making the look. Will he in turn 1? No, he's going to opt against it. Austin Tucker, though, does go down the inside of Henry Morse, takes Ron Wolf with him. This is what happened to Justin Hall. Hall was in the lead of the race. He got pushed by Eric Ronenberg through to the race lead. That sent him in too deep, collided with Hall, and that spun Hall around. And Alex Crawford on a big recovery drive for the back of the field, making the last first challenge as per. At this moment, going off the road, collected Tyler Augustino, and that has wiped out laps upon laps of progress.
That it has. That always really frustrating when you get too far on the curbing and then you go to apply the power and you just watch your car rotate instead of going forward. You're like, well, that's not where it's supposed to go. And then even adds insult to injury when you take somebody out with you in your own mistake. But he's working his way back, got the fastest lap at 123.54. So I don't think his pride is hurt too much.
Right now, tracking the battle for 27 here between Jeremy Castro, Aaron Thacker, and Evan Campbell as they scrap it out amongst themselves. One of many fights going on deeper in the field here. The battle for 10th a little bit further up the road. Make that the battle for 9th up the road with Mac Verstappen, Tyler Carlton, and Alex King. All of them still under a blanket. And then, of course, the ever-present battle for the lead. Once again, side by side of the one. Bright, though, going to lift out of that one. Tucker trying to keep Jason Lee at bay.
And he's been successful since he took the position on the back straight, but he's still got a lot of race left to sit there in the top few spots when it seems to just kind of be changing hands every couple laps. And this is Justin Brees.
Brissy towing to pit road after this incident. Spin off the road, and I think he called it quits from there. Yep.
Yeah.
So just shy of a quarter distance through this race. Bright, Tucker, Lee, Bueller, and more. Still trying to keep Eric Ronenberg honest, but Ronenberg's held a pretty convincing 2 to 3/10 of a second gap since he took it about 4 or 5 laps ago.
And he has Austin Tucker looking on the outside of Chris Bright, forcing Chris Bright to a shallow line. Jason Lee trying to see if he can pick up that spot as well. They end up going too wide down the start-finish straight. And I think neither will gain the benefit of the draft as a result. Ron Wolf pushing Chris Bright up the field.
Oh, here we go. 3. Are we going to go 4?
My
Lee locks up. That's not going to work, and somehow it does. They'll think better, get it back down to 2 by the time they get to the apex. That was a little bit dicey, though, coming down to the 1.
Yeah, that lockup from Jason Lee was a little scary, and I was a little concerned he was going to go into another car, but he collected it, got out of the lockup. Very effective braking technique there to get the tires rotating again from that lockup, keep the car from hitting somebody else. As Justin Hall spins at the end of that pack.
Justin Hall goes for a little bit of a slide, and he's going to be dropped out of the tail end of this field and right into the clutches of Matt Verstappen. Will pick him up as well. So Hall drops back, and now Ronenberg out by 2.3 seconds. Ron Wolf going to get around Austin Tucker. And I think it's safe to say it's now just a race for second, unless you can get a good old Code 69 going here.
I'll say if Code 69 happens, which I believe the window is open. Yes, it is. As the window is open, I think it'll definitely be a good thing for all these drivers with the gap between Ron Wolf and Eric Ronenberg, or if Eric Ronenberg has an unfortunate moment that brings him back into contention. Austin Tucker looking for second as he goes on the inside of turn number 1.
Yes, sir. Trying to make that look down to the inside. Tucker's through to second, but they are still not able to close in on much of the front runners. There you see Bueller giving up a spot to Alex Coffer. Bueller, one of the big heavy hitters with the sprint race, encountered troubles earlier on. Tyler Vietnam has gone around on the exit of turn number 12.
That he unfortunately has. Over rotates it, snaps back, and then tries to collect it. Unable to do so. Manages to keep out of any of the other cars, though, that are trying to drive around him. And gets it going the right direction. So, great heads-up driving for those around him. And keeps it going.
And potentially Aaron Thacker now having had a moment as well. Thacker's one of the guys that just got around him, and he also went for a little bit of a slide. That was through the 1-2-3 chicane. You see Cofford has just battled his way into the top 10 as well, deeper in the field. So Alex Cofford steadily on the march, but I think he's kind of hit the peak of what he can hope to get, unless he really does have that much more pace than everybody around him.
I mean, he is running consistent 123s, which is faster than everybody, with the exception of Eric Ronenberg on Eric Ronenberg's best lap. But when he's all by himself, he's running 2024s as well. So it's entirely possible Alex Coffer continues to be this successful, and he'll make his way further up the field. And I think with Alex King slipping down the order from a spin, that'll help him at least pick up a position.
You see, though, on Carlton, for example, right, that's 1.5 to 1.8 seconds every single lap that Coffer is quicker than him by. So Coffer definitely right now the fastest car on track. He has proven that by having stolen the fastest lap away several times in a row here. As we see him now try to apply the pressure to the number 45 of Tyler Carlton.
He is. As Tyler Carlton had to check up for that spin with Alex King. And battle for 8th, as Alex Bueller pushes at Alex Cofford past Tyler Carlton. And they both pick up the position for Tyler.
And you saw as well how just up the road there was another scrap that had just picked up as well. The fight for the number 2 spot was up and on the move. Meanwhile, Greg Beckman and Ryan Verhulst both going to drop one as Chris Hannigan fights his way up into 17th and immediately throws it away as he goes off the road.
Raceway still struggling to figure out the limits of grip as he comes in. I think he is either coming in to park it or take a quick splash of fuel.
We'll see which is which.
Yes.
So Chris Hannigan in the box. Still in the race car. So I am expecting him to be getting back out onto the racetrack before too long. Everyone else
He is out of the pit box.
about 20. Yeah, that's a reasonable splash and go stop for him. I think it's safe to say that he's just making the usual rounds there while these fights remain heavy on the racetrack.
They do indeed battle for what is effectively second now, involving 7 cars from Austin Tucker down to Henry Morris.
And we got one more to pit road here. Tyler Carlton. So we are right on the pit window, it looks like, here with this one. No sign of a Code 69 yet, mind you. This is not to try and beat a Code 69 call coming out. This is just a result of us hitting that fuel number. So I think it easy.
That it is. I think,
Go ahead, sorry.
I was about to say the same thing I think you were just about to start saying. It definitely makes it more of a two-stopper and a very easy two-stopper as a result. So,
yeah,
exactly, could not agree with you more.
very, very easy two-stopper in this one. Yeah, right at the 20-minute mark, too. That's very convenient. Makes it much easier for us to do the fuel numbers, unlike most weeks.
Yes. Unlike most weeks. Well, the fun part is, I think, if there is a Code 69, it'll be really interesting to see who comes in on that versus who is coming in now over the next few laps, which is right into the fuel window that we were talking about as well. So it'll be interesting to see if the Code 69 gets thrown and where that jostles up the field as those who take the fuel versus those that don't.
So far, a fantastic first race that we're having here at the Portland International Raceway. What a debut to Green Flag TV to welcome iRacing's first track up from the Washington State. You see Ron Wolf making the look to the inside of Bright, to the inside of Tucker. Not able to go 2 for 2. We got one, but Tucker outbroke him.
Chris Bright losing out to Josh Freed after a terrible entrance into turn 1 cost him the exit speed on turn 2. As this order continues to kind of shuffle around as cars find pace versus those that are able to pull the draft and use the pace there.
$12 minutes? 22 minutes deep, sorry. Several side by side.
A little more, add 10 to that number.
Yeah, a little bit. Already we can see just how spread out this field has gotten here this afternoon and how much we're kind of really focused up on these more isolated draft packs here down the back and the front straightaways respectively, and just have not been able to break away from one another. And in fact, we even see some drivers closing in. I'm very curious to see how much Ron Wolf has been losing back to Alex Cofford lap on lap.
I would love to see it as well. I think the math shows on Ron Wolf's slower laps. Ron Wolf has a terrible entry in turn 1 there. So he's lifting a hefty margin, 25.04 for Ron Wolf. And currently in second, 24.147 for Alex Cofford. And Tyler 24.71 for Alex Bueller, kind of the drafting partner of Alex Cofford as the two of them make their way back up to this initial pack, or not initial pack, but a top pack for what is essentially position 2, as Eric Ronenberg continues to build the gap from himself down to position 2.
And you can see over the last 3 laps, Cofford has overall gained about a net 0.6 of a second, so while he's not gaining much, he is gaining on this field. And now that he's clear of Alexander Bueller behind, could be in threat. That is the visual difference there between the race leader and the battle for the number 2 spot, as Ron Wolf looks to steal it back from him. Oh, and around goes Tucker, sliding into the infield.
Austin Tucker off.
Good job, though, to wrangle it back.
Keeps it out of the wall or other cars, but he finds himself at the back of this pack once again. So definitely has to find the time to make it up and get through to the rest of the field.
Eric Ronenberg comes down to pit road, this time by potential problem for Tyler Vietnan here. And we'll see what has happened to the driver, the number 43. Just a bit of a slide up and around. Tough break for him.
A good handful of cars in the pit lane, including the leader, Eric Ronenberg. As we kind of hit that fuel window that we talked about at the beginning. Lap 17 seems to be the lap of number for a good host of the middle of the pack as well. A lot of the front runners staying out an extra lap to try to see if they can make a little more time there on the low fuel car, as it's more nimble, a little bit lighter, but also a little bit easier to spin and go for a bit of a rotation on.
You see right now the pit stop window open in full force as several drivers are into the box. And in fact, here come the front runners into pit road as well. Right on cue. So pit road, a busy, busy place right now.
That it is. All of your top runners, Ron Wolf down to Austin Tucker of that initial batch of cars, all coming in for their first fuel stops. Almost looks like Josh Freed kind of didn't realize that he needed to pit for fuel as he kind of like spun into the, didn't really spin, but like had a very late entry to the pit lane instead of kind of lining up like the rest of the field, or the pack that he was running with.
So you can see drivers up on the jacks, potentially going for some tire changes as well in the midst of all of this. There is Alex Cofford coming down pit road. Looking to take the spot back.
Race the line for...
And out of the corner, down to the turn 1. Oh boy, Cofford improving up to 7th with that stop.
Very good stop for him. Good stop as well for Ron Wolf, Josh Freed, as Josh Freed now finds himself leaving what is considered will be net second. Henry Morris, Giovanni Romano also stretching their pit laps another lap, or their fuel stints another lap.
Oh no, male hot black flag for the driver, the number 66.
Wonder if he
too fast on
sped
entry
into pit lane.
I would think it would have had to have been.
Thinking.
Tough break for him on that deal.
Giovanni Romano also in, or last pitters for the first pit stop. Henry Morris still out on his initial fuel stint.
Meanwhile, there is Eric Ronenberg. Right now, the net race leader working out of turn number 12 and back around to the front straightaway. Everyone behind him still in lockstep as we fight back down the pit straight. Cofford, though, now looking to make the move on Ron Wolf. And that will put him into net P3 into turn number 1. It was a second quicker in all of pit road than everyone else behind him, so Cofford has got pit road dialed in tonight.
Oh, man. He has that dialed in along with the rest of the track with that consistency he's been showing, running a solid 124 pretty much consistently when he is kind of in the front of a draft. 123s when he has the draft to work with him, and definitely moving up the field. Big shake from him though as he tries to navigate the technical second sector. Ron Wolf forced kind of on the inside line as a result of this. Now the outside as they go on, get ready to go onto the back stretch. And Alex Bueller is going to take the advantage there. not enough to warrant the position.
And Morris continued to say out. Morris is trying to make this a one-stop race.
I absolutely agree. He is, I think, in the window to make it a one-stop race. The question is, will a Code 69 make that a harder... Oh, Code 69 will begin at the end of lap 21.
Which Morse is on right now. So these drivers have one more lap to come around.
Oh,
and
man.
Ronneberg has decided to bail in for a second stop. Make sure he's good to go the distance. Tucker will do the same.
Yes, Tucker will do the same.
You know
The
what?
rest of the field, though, is staying out.
That is what Henry Morse was. It's debatable, right? I think that was what Henry Morse was not hoping for. I think he was kind of hoping this race would go green, because if these guys did have to pit again, Morse could have just run away with this thing. He's could have just shot him in the foot on strategy.
Yeah, I think so. I think he was also maybe waiting for it to happen when he could also benefit from it.
Which,
I
I mean,
think is the
hey.
other option as he dives into pit lane now.
38-second gap, right? I mean, he's barely going to lose anything by pitting now.
That is true. I would say he definitely has, I think, one of the better options in terms of the Code 69. I think it benefits him more than it hurts, but I do definitely think it makes the one-stop fuel strategy he was going for a little mute as the rest of the field kind of came in to top up.
Or could very well be looking to try to save under this Code 69 to get to the end. Now, the thing here is Henry's good to go. He can just push as hard as he wants. Everyone else that's not pitting here, oh, they are pitting. All right, everyone's going to be good to go the distance.
Yes. I believe so. I think we are at the spot where they come in now and they will be good for the rest of the race, as almost everyone comes in the pit lane to top up on fuel. You see all these drivers, Josh Freed, Chris Bright, Ron Wolf, Alex Bueller, good front half of the field all coming in to take fuel.
Some drivers do
Jason
opt to
Lee,
stay
Tyler
out.
Carlton. They do, as well as those that pitted last lap, kind of filtering back through Eric Ronenberg, Alex Bueller, and probably individuals that pitted when the Code 69 call was put out.
Interesting. Interesting. So the race will be neutralized for the first time tonight, and this one comes right past the halfway point. We'll be back in a moment. More on Green Flag TV. Stay with us.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers.
Welcome back to Green Flag TV. Moments away from restarting round number 4 of the Beer League for the Portland International Raceway. Coming back around to the start-finish stretch, this time by now we just await for Henry Morse to go. It is at leader's discretion, and I'm assuming he's going to wait right there. Now he launches, and we're back underway. This is going to get a
great launch from him.
Going to get a little bit hairier down to turn 1. Oh, there we go. Multiple crunches in the back of the field. Several cars having to cut across. Austin Tucker got taken out there coming into the corner.
That he did. Unfortunately, oh, and then we have a Quickie 69 beginning at the end of lap 24.
Oh, you are kidding me. Seriously? Another one right out of the gate?
I am not. Nope. Quickie 69 at the end of lap 24.
Oh my gosh.
It might be, my guess might be, well, I don't think we do it for battery starts.
Maybe a lap. No, it's not at all. This is just the bot triggering itself again.
Yeah.
So this is the first race all season long where we're going to get 2 safety cars. First one of the season.
That is interesting. I'm super curious if there is any important ramifications.
Oh, look out! Off the road goes Carlton as he went 3 wide with Ronenberg and Bueller. Everyone jockeying for whatever spots they can get here. Morse will hang on at the head of the field as we come back around to the start-finish line here. Boy, oh boy, what a wild turn of events here. And several cars are back in the pit road.
Yeah, a lot of them topping up for fuel. I think we see a lot of the drivers who didn't stop under the first code 69. I'm trying to remember a couple of the names that were either came in on the first lap of the 69 or did not come in at all. Wow. Okay.
That got interesting. And this still is interesting because this, like you say,
yes,
gonna be a quick one.
It is a quickie, meaning we got to see reshuffle the order as all of these drivers who come in for the 69 will pretty much be sacrificing position for insurance.
Yeah, I don't think they needed to do that. I think they kind of just screwed themselves with that.
I don't think so. That's why I was just saying, I don't think they needed it, but I'm also, maybe that's just the way, maybe they didn't have enough fuel to finish the race under. It's possible. I think a couple of those, I think at least for Jason Lee.
Oh yeah, we're going to go this time.
Well, Ryan Verhulst
too, I think.
I've not seen the actual call for it. They just might be doing it.
They move of protest. They want a race.
The sequence will be shortened is what I got. A call from Tyler Agostino. For a good number of those cars, that was their second pit stop, though. Greg Beckman, Lance Cameron, Jason Lee, forming 2 restart lines is the call.
Yep, so we're going to go this time. Usually I shout out around now what's coming up on Green Flag TV. Today I'm going to shout out what's in the past. If you have not checked out last night's All Mess World Cup Series finale, treat yourself after this race. Hollywood could not script that if they tried. It was a storybook finish and definitely one for the books here. We're doubled up and expecting them to launch pretty early once again on the mad sprint down to turn number 1. I'm expecting Morris to go probably right at or around the start-finish line, just like last time.
They're shifting down in gears to get ready for the best launch they can.
Carlton's back to pit road. Actually, he has towed to pit road.
What happened there? Yeah.
No idea. Morris holding the field a long time. Now he launches right before the braking zone for turn 1. Really trying to check the field up as much as possible to get away.
That he is, and there might be chaos that ensues as they all filter through, but it looks like they are more successful this time than they were last time. Jordan Babcock kind of being the only one with a bad exit there, as well as Jason Lee spinning it. Is that a self-spin? No, it looks like he got help from another individual.
So the pack going to start to work our way through. This is what happened to Tyler Carlton. As this, no idea. Maybe a hardware issue, potentially. That's the only thing I could think of. But Morse with a half-second gap. But Casey and Ronenberg, if they can link up, they should be able to run him down.
It's definitely possible. I think they'll probably be fighting each other, though. And they both will get the draft out of this anyway. Less than half a second back, meaning they both have the opportunity there. I think it's very possible for them to still get the run, not as effective as they would be if they were closer, but enough of a draft to keep themselves within that second gap to Henry Morris.
See, I like what Ronenberg did there. We call that slingshot drafting. He slingshotted his way around Casey, and yeah, they went side by side, but the net gain was still more than if he had probably just pushed him down the straightaway, and now he's closer than ever, and he is keeping Henry Morris nice and honest. And we've had some kind of issue at the tail end of the field here, and I think Austin Tucker may have just been punted around, and in fact, he is not the only one. Greg Beckman and Ryan Verhulst also showing like they have had some massive issues at turn number 1.
Yeah, there was a pretty big bunch up for Greg Beckman, Ryan Verhulst, and Blake Grambrell also getting caught up in that.
Few cars getting caught up. Now Henry Morris under fire. Here comes Ronenberg. Ronenberg closes in within a tenth of a second. Now he's going to try to look. No, he's not going to make the look. He's going to push him along, trying to see if he can help him get clear of Kasich and Moore, but Kasich not going to let him get away with that.
No, not at all. Alex Bueller also looking for the opportunity there. Josh Freed, Ron Wolf, Chris Bright, Alex Cofford, all these individuals now joining this fight as the 10ths drain down into hundredths between all of these drivers.
Ronenberg makes the look, and Bueller tries to take it 3
wide.
Fastest lap of the race again, reset by Alex Cover, that time by to turn number 1.
Still too wide for Eric Ronenberg, and
I think they may have just handed this win to Morris on a silver platter by going side by side there. They needed to get together, get single file out. They didn't, and now Morris is a 1-second lead.
Yeah, I think it is, unfortunately, especially with Eric Ronenberg really checking up a lot of the field with his offline driving. I think it's going to be, they might have also given Alex Bueller a very good lead into second if Eric Ronenberg can't figure out how to get this car back into the train of the racing line. All the cars behind him checking up.
Yeah, it feels like Ronenberg right now is more concerned about personal glory than working together here. And 3 wide, confident to the wall, Free making contact with Kasich, and now Kasich's being turned into the grass. Wright goes around, Verstappen gets collected.
Oh my gosh, Verstappen collects Kasich again.
It's like, come on, we got to work together here. You're not going to win the race by yourself in a pack like this.
They are not, but with just about 15 minutes left, they're starting to kind of think for themselves over working together as a team to make a solid finish happen. Josh Reed working his way around Eric Ronenberg for third. And I mean, with this gap between him and Bueller as well as Henry Morris, there's definitely, I think, the first 2 spots of the podium pretty well and said for at this point.
It does disappoint me a little bit when the field just kind of throws away a good chance at a win. Because, I mean, we know Bueller's likely not going to be able to catch up to Morris on his own. Morris is such a dominant driver like that. But it's like, we could have had a great finish, a great, like, 8-way fight for the win. And one guy decided to go for broke and ruined the chances of everybody behind him. And now there's no Code 69 to save them either. Unless they actually start working together here. But they're just not getting the message. Have we
Alex
not learned the
also,
lessons clearly?
I don't know. You're all right. I just don't. I don't know that Eric Ronenberg really had an opportunity to file back into line without causing more problems that he ended up doing. But I don't think it was a ton of personal glory, and more I will think back on that of just trying to figure out how to get up to the speed because he was forced too wide by Alex Bueller. That cost him so much time to begin with.
Oh boy, look out, Freed in hot into turn 1. He's just going to cut right across.
He keeps it out of the way.
And the gap only builds from second to third on down. Brooks Clayton, you see him going slow as he's going to lose a healthy handful of spots. Morris is clear from Bueller. Bueller clear from the rest of the field. I think the only question now is, does Bueller have what it takes to run Morris down?
I'm not entirely certain that is the case. Alex Crawford really closing the gap there between the two of them. I think it's a question of whether or not these two, Alex Crawford and Alex Bueller, can work together to take the fight back to Morris.
Which they can do.
Morris.
We've seen people be able to do that as well. They can absolutely do it. But Crawford has got to get in line and play the team game here if he wants to give himself a chance at a race win.
That or play the slingshot game with Alex Bueller every straight from here until the end of the race to keep closing that distance.
Well, remember, with the slingshot game, it takes 2 to tango, right? You cannot do it by yourself because if the other guy is going to fight you at every opportunity to try to outbreak you, you're going to end up losing more time than you gain.
Certainly. But from what I saw of these two earlier, I definitely think it's possible for Alex Crawford and Alex Bueller, kind of watching them earlier on in this race as they both worked up from the back of the field, as Alex Bueller also started from pit lane. I don't know if it was by choice or just the happenstance of the racing that had happened so far. And Eric Ronenberg really trying to work his way back through and find that last bit of time there, keep himself in the battle for the podium.
What do you do, Alex? Do you push or do you pass? He's going to push. I think Alexander Bueller understands the assignment. He's going to try to push Alex Crawford up to the front. I do like this. I like this order of things. Crawford is the quicker out of the two on outright pace, but so Crawford can work to drag Bueller up towards Henry Morris. This fight's not over.
I absolutely agree. I think it'd be interesting to see where these two make their run here. Alex Bueller finding the pace though on this front stretch, a little bit more room there as the two of them work through first couple corners.
The gap now down to just 1.4. It was up to 1.9 last lap.
I think they've definitely got at least a rhythm going. What kind of rhythm that is, well, we have to see exactly how it pays out for them. And Alex Crawford really only Eric Ronenberg really only half a second behind these two. So I think he's waiting and working his way back up as well and trying to get as much time as he can out of the draft, what draft he is getting from the two cars in front of him.
Last lap, Bueller gained 0.4 of a second, courtesy of working with Alex Crawford here. The gap has not really gone down much, but it certainly is not extended. Now with this big push down the back straightaway, we can start to see Alex Crawford start to reel Bueller back up towards Henry Morrison. I expect another slingshot coming at you here down the pit straight.
I think that seems to be the pattern. I think we'll see it again from Alex Crawford goes around Alex Bueller, and then Alex Bueller will push him down the backstretch. The two of them will just keep chipping away. 10th here, 2 tenths there, and with just about 10 minutes to go, there's definitely plenty of time there for the two of them.
Just catch that right there. Bueller pulled offline and braked early, allowing Crawford to take the optimal line into the corner.
They are definitely working together to make this happen, and I think they have definitely got that down to a science.
All right, fight's on. 10 minutes to go. We'll check in on that a little bit later. See how that is going to continue to pan on now. Meanwhile, deeper in the field, drivers like Lance Cameron are still trying to make moves. That's Evan Campbell right ahead of Cameron. This year, the fight for 13th on down.
Man, and Alex King at the front of this grouping, not far ahead in 12th, meaning there's a nice chunk of cars all battling for some pretty good positions. Jason Lee also in this mix. Jake Kasich from those earlier incidents fighting back up the order as they are getting into the last 10 minutes of racing.
Into the final 10 minutes. Roughly 6, 7, maybe 8 laps to go, but I think it's going to be more like 6. Here you see the 41 of Cameron looking to the inside of Evan Campbell. Makes the move on the 71 car. Good solid drive from him. Now looking to go the long way around is Jason Lee, but Lee can't find an opening. Tucks in line between Cameron and Kasich.
And that'll make for an interesting couple of laps here as Evan Campbell and Jake Kasich will both get better runs, trying to work their way around 3 wide as they go into turn 1.
3 wide indeed. Look out, Cameron, as Shane Cameron kicking the tail end out. And just able to drag things underneath them. I mean,
Campbell
man.
Losing a lot of time there.
It's going to be one heck of a finish, I can tell you that much.
Absolutely. For these drivers, the battle for 5th still rages pretty hot. Alex Crawford, Alexander Bueller, both clear now of Eric Ronenberg by 2 seconds. Still trying to get the last few tenths on top of the field, but I think all of these drivers are battling it out as these still go 2 wide going into the final corner for P5. Aaron Thacker finding his way around Giovanni Romano. Josh Freed looking to go up the inside of Ron Wolf. He might need some help there because he doesn't have a whole lot of draft to start. Aaron Thacker willing to give him the push.
And willing to make a look potentially here as well. Down to the inside of turn 1. Thinks better of it. Ron Wolf will file back in line, 3rd in line. Checking into the leaders. Not much being shown here from your top 3. And I'm thinking this game might be just about over for the front runners here. They just haven't been able to gain nearly as much as they need to.
I definitely think Henry Morris is finding the lap times he's looking for, has made his fuel marks to do everything right and get the one stop done successfully. I think he's now just kind of using this pace that he has to finish, and I think he is finding more time than both either Crawford or Bueller can muster, even with the draft helping both of them.
Try as he may, he is still looking to see if he can make something happen. Oh boy, side by side at the 10, not gonna work. Josh Freed is sent around.
Unfortunate moment as they go 3 wide into turn 10. You can see that here on the replay.
2 wide barely works. 3 is never gonna work. It's just 2-1 line.
No. Yeah, there's just not enough. There's not enough room without also hemorrhaging a lot of time off of the lap there.
Oh, look at this. Morse, I think Morse made a mistake somewhere. The gap's under a second for the lead. Crawford and Bueller are back in this thing.
They are, and I think it's a bad entry into turn 1, costing them a lot of time on the exit of turn 2 that reels them back into this fight. That and the lap times, a 24.16 last lap for Henry Morris, also aiding in the amount of time lost. But he's quickly trying to rebuild that gap back to the second and a half that it was. Traffic also coming into play here.
Lap traffic becoming a factor here that Henry Morris is going to have to contend with. Now, the question is, what car is it? That is the 79 of Shane Cameron, I want to say. Blake Gambrill, sorry. So Blake Gambrill now going to be giving Henry Morris a little bit of a headache here. 5 minutes to go. The gap down to 0.8 of a second. And you see how much Crawford and Bueller are trying to flirt around with the draft, trying to stay in as much slipstream as they possibly can. Gambrill going to take the wise choice and bail out, not getting involved.
Gosh. Not getting involved, but the pace there between all of them closing rapidly as Henry Morris has to deal with more of the lap traffic than either Alex Crawford or Bueller, keeping the top steps of the podium all together as Jake Kasich is in the pit lane.
Jake Kasich could not go the distance. He is into pit road. Half a second between Morse, Crawford, and Bueller. What a battle we are setting ourselves up for. Looking for 2 potential laps to go this time by.
Running out of opportunity, but definitely Alex Crawford has a great run here out of the final corner. I wonder if Henry Morris is getting slowdowns somewhere on the circuit that is causing him to hemorrhage a lot of time on that backstretch trying to get it bled off.
So it will be confirmed. 2 laps to go when we come back around to the start-finish line this time by. Popsicle sticks are in the air. We have not yet had a repeat winner in season number 11. If Crawford or Morse wins, there'll be a repeat winner. If Bueller wins, we'll get a 4th different winner on the season. Crawford to the lead in turn 1.
And they all make it through turn 1 into turn 2. Alex Bueller now in the rear end of this fight, but not by much. And fortunate, I think, spin here.
Oh, boy.
Collecting.
Heavy hit into the wall for Adam Joseph Mailhot. Right into the concrete, and now setting themselves up the back straightaway in the fight for the lead.
That has not calmed down at all. I think they are waiting. I want to say, at least Alex Bueller is waiting for this opportunity on the last lap here. And Alex Crawford, Henry Morris running wide.
Defensive.
Yeah.
Coming back around. Front straightaway into turn number 12. Crawford misses the apex. Morse nailed it. Good drive off the final corner for both drivers. All the way down the front straightaway. Morse closing on Crawford more and more. Williams gets a black flag. Morse lives. He knows he's going to be vulnerable into the back straightaway. He doesn't want to take the chance. Bueller going to capitalize into the inside. Takes it away into turn 1.
And he looks for that response into the technical sector, but is also waiting for his opportunity to just be there and get his pass done on the back straightaway.
So critically,
Definitely think.
This might actually not be the last lap. In that last camera shot we saw, the flagman was not waving the white flag. We might still have 2 to go here.
I believe we do have 2 to go here. I did not see the flagman wave it, so I think Henry Morris has a chance here to work his way back up, but Alex Crawford is definitely building the gap between himself and Alex Bueller up to half a second. And 2 of them running defensive as they make their way through the last couple corners through turn 10 and 11.
Alex Crawford out of turn 12. Trying to hang on, a half-second gap between the pair. Coming to the stripe, it's going to be close. Is this the white flag? Is it the final lap? 5 seconds on that clock coming down. No, they will not get the checkered flag. Now we're on the final lap. Bueller goes defensive, trying to make the launch on Crawford. Can't get there into turn number 1, but he's able to hang on against Henry Moore, so keeps Morse from getting it in. 4 tenths between them on the final lap.
The battle for the podium continues, and there is super curious where how the runs out of the backstretch will set them up for the final couple corners, and who will make the late dive into turn 10.
Right now, the gap is under 4 tenths of a second. If Bueller can close up there, he might have an answer for him. Closing, he's got a good draft, he's got a better run. Does Morse go for glory? Does he help Bueller get up there to Alex Crawford? 3 tenths of a second, down to a quarter. There's no time to wait. You gotta make the move into turn number 10. Bueller makes the look. Does Morse go for 3? Morse chooses to stay alive. Contact now! And around into the wall goes Crawford. Into the wall goes Morse. But Bueller's off the road. Bueller's gotta slow down. Bueller has to wait. Crawford's closing. Crawford's gonna get back around him. Crawford back to the stripe. Bueller trying to get back to him. Drag race off the final corner, coming down to the wire. This time by Crawford hangs on to take the win at Portland. You are kidding me.
Intense final corner. Oh my gosh. Giovanni Romano capitalizing on all that chaos to come home third, just ahead of Henry Morse.
Unreal.
I don't know if he...
Surely didn't have that much of a slowdown.
I think he also had depending on how that slowdown happened, just a terrible, spot, and you have to serve it or else you get, black flag or rejected.
Oh my gosh. Take a look back on this final lap drama as Morse takes out Bueller.
Takes out everyone in that top 3 at some point.
I cannot believe that went down the way it did. Jump back a bit further than that. I want to get a look into the cockpit of these drivers. This is going to be first on board with Henry Morse, who comes home 4th tonight. Just too aggressive on the brakes. Wiped out all 3 of them. Bueller gets a slowdown there, and he's got to serve it. Has no choice. Crawford here realizes he's got a chance. Lunges for the inside. Bueller had him, though. He could have gone down the front straightaway. I want to know why he lifted.
I don't think he finished this slowdown, maybe.
Maybe not.
That's the only thing I can think of.
Holy cow.
The last couple tenths of a second.
Massive dramas on the final lap, and out of all of that, Morse, the one that caused it, misses out on the podium. Talk about shooting yourself in the foot. We'll take a rundown of go ahead. Sorry. Holy cow.
Oh, I was just saying, like you said, too late on the brakes. I don't think he lost his brake marker with Alex Crawford on the outside there. And that just set up this whole kind of domino effect that happens between all 3 of them.
Oh boy.
A tough break.
Well, this afternoon, it is going to be Alex Crawford taking home the win. A shock win at that. Bueller picks up second, Romano in third. Morse was once dominated this race. He now finishes in 4th. Ron Wolf in 5th. Augustino in 6th. Thacker in 7th. Fried in 8th. Ronberg 9th. And Jason Lee rounds out the top 10. From there, it's going to be Tucker, Cameron, Bright Hall, King, Clayton, By, Campbell, Hannigan, and Babcock Fenn to close out the top half of the field.
And, God, I had it. Excuse me. 21st, Max Verstappen, and Greg Beckman, Ryan Verles, Jake Kasich, Ryan Murphy, Adam Joseph Mailhot, Carson Caitlin, Callan, excuse me, Tyler Vietnam, Barrett Morton, and Jeremy Castro are your 20th to 30th. The last 5 on the grid: Blake Cambrell, Ben Williams, Tyler Carlson, Stefan Purcell, and Justin Brees are your 5 last finishers. Last couple do not take the checker flag.
We'll get the chance now to give a chit chat here to all the drivers that come home this race on top at the end of the night, and we'll look to kick it off first and foremost with one Alex Cofford here at the end of the night, as we'll bring your race winner into the broadcast booth this afternoon. Alex, lack of words on that one. We thought you had it, we thought you didn't, and then we thought you had it, then you did it again, and then you did end up having it. Just talk us through the final 30 seconds of that race.
Yeah, I'm not sure where the best place would be, because heading to the line, being in P2, if you get a good run, you can definitely catch a draft and try to fight through. So I wasn't trying to defend super hard into there. And I don't know. I think Henry was thinking the same thing, and he just sent it in way too deep, and unfortunately kind of ruined what could have been a really awesome finish. I'll have to see a replay. I haven't seen a replay so much, but yeah, it was kind of lame. I don't know. I'd like to race to the line.
Overall, you do become the second winner here this afternoon, and you had to really work for it here tonight. It became a bit of a battle between who was going to work together between you or Alexander Bueller. I know Eric Ronenberg looked to disrupt things as well. It kind of goes through what the strategy was to try to work with these guys to get your way back to the front.
Yeah, it was honestly a poor race for me. I spun someone, I spun Tyler, so I got to apologize to him. I also spun myself on slower traffic that I just need to make sure I'm matching their pace. And then, yeah, once we got to the front, like, you know, 2 people battling are always going to be slower than 1 person in clean air. So kind of the intention was, you know, just if you got a good run and don't defend, because otherwise, you know, we can battle to the death for second place, or we can have a chance for the win. So, you know, it's pretty much a no-brainer at that point. We had the pace to catch him, and so luckily we had enough time. And then, yeah, once we're caught up, then, you know, draft's so strong that you know, no one's going to be able to get away from anyone.
Race 5 rolls around, and you are the first driver with 2 wins on the boards. Is it going to be 3 for 3 next week?
No, so I'm going to be in Florida next week. I'll be here for the week after, and then I'll be in Europe for the following 2 races. So I'm only going to be making 6 races this season, so I'm hoping to make it 5 wins.
Hey, who knows? 6 races, 5 wins, and you're up. You're up 2 here this afternoon. We'll see you not next week. We'll see you in 2 weeks whenever we go racing, wherever we may be.
All right, guys, appreciate it. Have a great one.
That was Alex Cofford joining us here at the end of the night, and well, no word from Alexander Bueller, so instead we'll bring on up Giovanni Romano, the shock 3rd place finisher this afternoon. Fan, you're standing by with the Canadian.
I am indeed. Definitely not the person I was expecting to be seeing in 3rd place, but how does it feel to take home another podium?
It's good. It was a good run and a very interesting race.
Absolutely. Was the incident ahead of you something that you were surprised by, very surprised by, or just, you know, oh wow, this is an interesting final lap thing kind of surprise?
I think it was surprising, because I think up until that point everyone was the front pack was kind of handling themselves well, and I guess it kind of fell apart there right at the end. I don't really like it. Don't like to see it end that way, because I think it would have been probably a very interesting run to the line, but I guess I'll take it because I benefited from it regardless. So, yeah.
That you did. Rest of the race for you seemed to be pretty calm and collected. Did you have any moments that you felt like were out of sorts, or did you feel like you had the race pretty dialed in for the most part?
It's a little bit frustrating there on the last restart, simply because it's really difficult to make up track position because of the draft. Like, I mean, it's easy enough to get a run on someone, but then it's very easy for that person to pass you back on the next straight. And we think I was a little too passive, which is why I ended up so far separated from the rest of the top 3 there at the end. But yeah, it was still very fun though. Just it's just tough. That's all.
Absolutely. Well, we will hopefully get to be able to see you back next week. I don't think we know where we're going yet, do we? Am I going crazy here?
Next week is an off week, according to the attendance.
So
Yes.
Dirt Ledges at Lima Land, with the format being, and I quote, heats and stuff. So we'll see.
Should be fun.
Absolutely. Well, looking forward to seeing that. And then we will see you hopefully very soon on the podium again.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you very much.
That's going to do it then for our podium interviews here this afternoon. And boy, again, what a wild turn of events that we had here this afternoon, Fan. A shocking finish, I think, to put it mildly. And not the drag race out to the line that we were expecting to have, but definitely a fantastic race in of its own right. And, well, Crawford said he doesn't want to win a race that way. I'm sure he's not complaining about getting another win on the boards in general.
I bet not, especially when you're only going to be here 6 races. But I think it's still so much more rewarding to get that good run that we see kind of be the deciding factor in a lot of these races of who has the better race off the line, out of the last corner towards the line. And then also, how far away is the line? Because you look at our first race of the season, how far away the line is from the final corner can really impact whether or not the person in the draft has the ability to take the win, or if it's just a good defensive run from the leader that keeps him in P1 across the line. So it's definitely a different thing that we usually see in these, photo finishes that I think are going to be still pretty common throughout the rest of the season. But I think I wouldn't be the way that I would want to win either. But at the same time, it's still a win. I don't know. It's hard to really call as a, I definitely see Alex Crawford's point though of wanting to win via a better run and not through a, being the luckiest of a terrible 3-car wreck due to a missed braking point.
Well, before we can get to the off-week shenanigans and all the races beyond, we still got more action coming up on Green Flag TV. Tomorrow night, the Speed Cup Series kicks off playoff season at the Kansas Speedway, with it being round 3 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the SRA NASCAR Classic Series on Saturday. On Sunday, Blazing Pedals and ASRL are both off, but the Classic IndyCar Series is back for more at Indianapolis. That will also see the high-time race in the Guardian Premier Series out at Rockingham then on Monday. And that takes back around to the PSR Sim Gaming Expo Truck Series alongside potentially the Beer League next week as well on Wednesday night. And, of course, it'll be the Hyperion Racing 183 from PSR next week as well. If you want to find out more about who we are and what we can offer you, check us out today at www.greenflagtv.com. As always, my name is Nola Rempel. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you all next week when we go racing again in the Beer League.